Hello everyone, this is Materials and Finishes, and this is practical assignment number 1, basic layout and setup for Photoshop. So what you see on the screen here is my basic layout, what I've come to, and I'm at the final result. You've got a copy of the floor plan. The color of the space should be rendered according to the color of your samples, as close as possible as you possibly can get. As you can see, some of my samples have some patterns, so you're not going to have it perfectly. You also need to make sure that the titles in the floor plan are legible. Right now I cannot read them, so they need to be darker. Again, you'll also have the 3 samples, one for each of the space, one for the vestibule, one for the dining room, and one for the office. You'll need to have a text included, so you'll have 75 word text, which is here. And this text includes just a justification why you've chosen that sample for that selection, for that space. You'll also include some of the specifications. So that will include the room, the total square footage of that space. It'll also include the title of your sample, plus any specifications. So the price, the total cost estimates, anything else that you feel is relevant there. So I've got 3 different samples. All right, so let's take a look at the basic setup there. So what we're going to do is we're going to first create a new document. And that's going to be a tabloid size, which is going to be 17 by 11. And that's going to be the landscape as we see here. 300 pixels per inch. The color mode is going to be CMYK color for cyan, magenta, yellow, black, 8-bit. Let's create that. So this is what our space will look like. So first things first, let's start to embed the image. So we're going to place embed under file. The first thing we'll take is the PDF of the floor plan. Now I've already saved this in the AutoCAD from the AutoCAD file. I brought it in, so I need to click OK or accept it. So here's my image. Now I'm going to use the marquee tool here. I'm just going to highlight a little bit of a section. I'm going to cut out all the extra text on the edges, and I'm just going to grab the space part of the image that I want to include. So I'm going to press Control C on my keyboard to copy this section. So Control C to copy this piece. Then I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to click on the new layer, and I'm going to press Control V to paste a new plan. I'm going to shut off the layer of underneath it, the one that I just used. I could even delete it if I wanted to, but I'll shut it off as well because it's just easier to, if I need it, I can go back to that one. So I'm shutting that one off. I'm going to use the move tool to grab the plan and just move it off to the edges. I also noticed I need to put my grid lines. So remember, we need about a ½ inch margin around our document. So to do that, grab the guidelines. You click on the ruler and you drag your lines down. You can use the rulers about ½ inch from the edge on all sides. And we're going to stay within that shape. So our floor plan goes out a little bit. What we can do is we can shrink it and bring it in just slightly. So I'm going to I'm going to press down the Shift key, and I'm going to drag the corner and drag it in just slightly to shrink it. There we go. I'm going to let go of the mouse, let go of the Shift, and there we are. I'm going to click the check mark at the top, or I'm going to click Enter on my keyboard to accept that place. All right, so that's that. There's the floor plan. Now I need to bring in my samples, so I'm going to use again Place Embed, find my samples, and place them wherever I want them to be. Again, I can resize them. Hold down the Shift key, grab the corner, and adjust it proportionately. When you're happy with that, press Enter, accept it. And of course, you'll do the same for all the others, and you will need to adjust them accordingly to make sure they align, they fit nicely, and that of course they're legible and we can see them nice and clearly. Some images, like the one that I've just placed, have an intricate pattern that you might want to have them at a larger scale so we can see them more clearly. All right, and of course for my text, I'm going to use a type tool, drag out a big space. My text has already been pre-written, as we see here. Again, the text represents 75 words to justify. It does not include the specifications, so that's not included in the 75. So you have to be in the type tool to adjust the placement. If you use the move tool, you could certainly move the box around, but I would not adjust the size because then you might adjust, oops, it would skew the writing. Okay. All right. So that is again for the text, and of course you're going to continue on and you're going to fill in the text as you go along for the remaining pieces. Another thing is, do not forget to include your name and the title of the document somewhere on the board. Again, your color should be rendered as similar to your samples as possible. Unfortunately, it may not always work, so get as close to it as you can. Now, this is a very simple, basic layout. You might choose to be a little bit more creative by creating different type of images, modifying them more slightly, even entering some type of background color, which is fine as long as it doesn't compete with whatever's on the foreground. All right, so when we're happy with everything, like the one we are here, we're going to save it as a Photoshop PDF. Save. And this next one is where we are going to adjust. So as Adobe PDF Present, you're going to choose smallest file size. This way it's going to shrink down the file size and you're going to be able to upload it to the platform. Save the PDF and it will be wherever you had originally placed it. All right, so that is that. Hope that was helpful.